Part 12. The emperor pressed step-by-step next move for Qiutai to enter the palace willingly. It can be said that Xia Linxuan's game of chess is really good, pressing step by step. And the back moves are endless, and the moves are all aimed at the key points of Pu Qiutai. However, a wise man must make a mistake, even if he is as wise and cunning as Xia Linxuan. He can't firmly grasp everything in his hands. For example, this time, Pu Qiutai's sluggishness greatly surprised him. Originally, I thought that at least 2 days, and no more than 5 days at most, Pu Qiutai would rush to his bedroom sadly and angrily to cry rumors and kill people without a knife. At that time, he could naturally pretend to appease him, and then watch the other party's helplessness and heartbreak go to Wushan Yunyu together. Whenever he thinks of this, Xia Linxuan's heart is happy. However, he waited. This wait was half a month. Pu Qiutai didn't say that he came to cry, he couldn't see anyone at all. But Xia Linxuan was also more energetic this time. Pu Qiutai didn't take the initiative to come, so he refused to announce the edict. After half a month like this, after all, His Majesty Emperor couldn't help it, and breathed straight through his nostrils in the study, and said hatefully, "Xiao Beiji, you go out to inquire for me, haven't the rumors gotten up yet? Didn't Chan Yanan pass on my words? How can Qiutai still sit firmly on the fishing platform?" Xiao Beiji laughed in his heart, and secretly said to the emperor, "Tell you to play, this is too much, right? You waited for Master Pu to bow his head, but people ignored you. It's just that the master of his own emperor is angry, and this kid naturally doesn't dare to touch his head. So he has no choice but to get the will out of the palace." Standing at the palace gate and thinking about it, this kid went to the court of the Ministry of Rights, and now Chan Yanan is working here. Seeing him coming, Chan Yanan had no choice but to welcome him in, and Xiao Beiji didn't care about greetings, so he went straight to the point. "I said, Lord Chan, what the emperor said to you a few days ago, did you bring it to Master Pu?" Chan Yanan said with a bitter face, "Eunuch Pei, it's not that I don't bring a message to the emperor, it's really the time is not yet ripe." "What does this mean? When is the time not ripe?" Xiao Beiji was puzzled, but saw Chan Yanan stand up and said to Xiao Beiji, "Eunuch Pei, please come with me. You can see it yourself, and Bao Zuner will understand." Xiao Beiji was puzzled, so he followed Chan Yanan out of the Ministry of Rights and went straight to Hanlin Academy. Along the way, he met dozens of courtiers, most of them were in groups of 3 or 5. Xiao Beiji was young, and his ears were very useful. He felt that those people were secretly looking at themselves. And then he listened carefully, and he understood that these people were talking about the emperor and Pu Qiutai behind their backs. From the whispered discussions of these people, Xiao Beiji also heard it, and turned to Chan Yanan and said, "I said, Lord Chan, the relationship between the emperor and Lord Pu has now spread throughout the capital, right?" The little official who just walked over, looking at the color of the uniform, is just an 8th-grade Jiaomo in the criminal department. Even though he knows it, who else doesn't know? Chan Yanan smiled bitterly. This is natural. Now the streets and alleys of the capital are full of this topic, and there are several versions. You can listen to whichever you want. Xiao Beiji said strangely. In this case, it means that everything is going on according to the emperor's arrangement. Why does Lord Chan still say that the time is not right? Do you want to wait for Master Pu to be unbearable, and then take it out after crying, making trouble, and hanging yourself? It's a little late. At this time, the two of them had already arrived at the Hanlin Academy, and Chan Yanan could squeeze out a bowl of bitter gourd juice on his face, pointed inside, shook his head and said, "Father-in-law, please see for yourself. You see that Qiutai looks like he is crying, making trouble, and going to hang?" Xiao Beiji looked inside and saw Pu Qiutai sitting on the seat by the second window, holding a book in his left hand and a brush in his right hand. On the ground on the side of his wide desk, there was a stack of tomes that were piled higher than his whole person. Xiao Beiji stretched his neck and looked at it for a long time, only to vaguely see that it was the 5 big characters of ancient and modern book collection, and he couldn't help but wonder. Isn't this the historical book collected by Emperor Weiming of the Daqing dynasty? When did Master Pu study the scriptures and history? Chan Yanan sighed and said, Eunuch Bey, this is not the point is, you see. He stretched out his hand and pointed to the Hanlin Academy. Xiao Beiji followed his gaze, and saw that more than 20 people in this room were looking back and forth on himself and Pu Qiutai, while whispering in 2s and 3s, seeing him look over. He stopped talking again and made a precarious appearance. However, even so, Pu Qiutai didn't seem to be aware of it. He looked up and turned a page of the book, continued to bow his head and write the paper, and didn't see Xiao Beiji and Chan Yanan standing at the door at all. With a hiss, Xiao Beiji gasped, pulled Chan Yanan's sleeve out. His little face turned pale, swallowed his saliva and said with difficulty, I said, Lord Chan, do you want to tell our family this? This Master Pu still doesn't know about him and the Emperor, and there have been rumors, right? Chan Yanan slapped his thigh, then stretched out his thumb and praised sincerely. My father-in-law really deserves to serve by the Emperor's side, and you can see the essence of the matter at a glance. But no, although this rumor has spread all over the world, Qiutai doesn't listen to things outside the window, and only reads hundreds of books, and I don't know until now. What do you say I should do? Did I take the initiative to alert him to the rumors? Qiutai is not easy to fool, he knows who I am. I am afraid that he can immediately guess that this is the Emperor's intention. Xiao Beiji clenched one hand into a fist and tapped it in the palm of the other hand. This is indeed a matter of scratching your head. Cheng, our family knows. Let's go back and report to the Emperor and see what the Emperor is going to do. Chan Yanan hurriedly thanked him. So Xiao Beiji returned to the palace and reported Pu Qiutai's status at this time to Xia Linxuan, and Xia Linxuan was stunned at that time. You mean, Qiutai is diligent in reading? And he still doesn't know that there are rumors about him and me? Xia Linxuan patted his forehead, and after getting Xiao Beiji's affirmative answer, he slapped his forehead again, and said angrily, It's my fault, it's all my fault. His Majesty Emperor shook his head as he spoke, muttering to himself, How come I have forgotten his favorite poetry? Originally, I just wanted to please him, and collected so many solitary books for him, but now it's good, let him get into it all of a sudden. And he is obsessed to this point, what should I do? Well, what can I do about that? Those nerds in the Hanlin Academy, they only know that they are talking in private. So they can't go to him and ask? Xiao Beiji thought to himself, Your Majesty, the conscience of heaven and earth, can you not wrong those adults in the Hanlin Academy, who want to die? It's not that it's crooked. Here Xia Linxuan thought for a while before he said to Xiao Beiji, Forget it. You find someone to announce the decree. Let Qiutai meet, and most importantly, say this and this. Commanded a few words in the ear of the confidant eunuch, and seeing that Xiao Beiji understood his spirit, Xia Linxuan waved his hand and asked him to do something. Here he thought about it, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. Qiutai, you really can. Just say that I forced you to press hard, and you don't look at how far you have forced me to, yes. In the end, I have to find the bottom of the steps first. When Pu Qiutai entered the palace of cultivating the heart, he didn't have the calmness of ignoring things outside the window with both ears and only reading hundreds of books. During the day, he looked at Xia Linxuan with a little complaint in his eyes, and almost didn't tilt his nose when he was burning with lust. When dinner was served, Pu Qiutai obviously didn't have much heart to eat. Xia Linxuan put a bowl of rock sugar bird's nest in front of him, and said as calmly as possible, "You haven't come here for half a month, and you've lost a lot of weight. Don't they give you supplements?" "I eat it every day." Pu Qiutai replied softly, thought about it and couldn't help but say, "Your Majesty, Minister." The minister has been studying those few unique poetry collections these days, and now he has only read 3 books. Please give the minister some more time. Without waiting to finish speaking, he heard Xia Linxuan say lightly, "You can't finish learning. Don't you have to forget to sleep and eat like this if you don't finish reading those poetry collections? What's more, after reading the poetry collection, there are other subsets of scriptures and histories that are contended by hundreds of schools, and it is enough to read for a lifetime. Do you think so in your heart?" Pu Qiutai's mind was pierced by Xia Linxuan, and he couldn't help blushing, and muttered, "The minister also wants to finish this errand as soon as possible." Before the words fell, he saw Xia Linxuan looking at him and snorted coldly, "Do you think those poetry collections are better than me? It's much more comfortable to face them than to me." Pu Qiutai was impulsive, and almost told the truth, but fortunately, he finally remembered that the master in front of him was moody. Therefore, he had to suppress his resentment, and said unwillingly, "Minister." "The minister didn't mean that." "Then eat well." I didn't summon you for half a month. You didn't say that you were grateful for my understanding. Rest and eat more every day. Nourish your body and grow some meat, but instead forgot to sleep and eat for a few poems. Dare you really think that after the Baishan collection case was gently put down, I would forget all the past?" Pu Qiutai's face turned red, and he said, "Minister." The minister didn't dare. "It's good if you don't dare. I like courtiers who are afraid of me. And I don't like those who don't know the height of the sky." After he finished speaking, he saw Pu Qiutai hanging his head, so he leaned over and grabbed his chin, forced him to raise his head, and smiled. "But Qiutai is an exception. I allow you to be presumptuous to a certain extent, such as on the bed." Even if he already knew that coming to the heart-cultivating hall again tonight would definitely be a catastrophe, but when he really heard Xia Linxuan say this, Pu Qiutai still couldn't help but feel that his legs and feet were weak, and the sex he had before really made him resist and be scared in his heart. "Let's eat bird's nest first." Looking at Pu Qiutai with fear in his eyes with satisfaction, Xia Linxuan sat back down. It's good to be afraid. He really needs Qiutai to be afraid of himself now. Only in this way will he willingly enter the palace for his next move.